You ever thought about that, Sarah? Remember that part where I did the math, and I don't know if you were there, and I figured out that I've trained over 3,000 people in the last 20 years from all different parts of the place. How many Aussies do you think I had in those classes? At least a half dozen.
I
A
was going to
fair
say,
batch of Kiwis. I had a German who moved to Cambodia, became a Buddhist monk, and then moved to Canada. So I had a German Cambodian Buddhist monk as one of my students. Like, I had some weird fucking people, and I learned from all of them about their cultures, their homelands, and stuff like that. That's what you do. That's the cultural flexibility of being a Canadian. We get this little ability to go, ooh, you're not from here. I want to know everything about where you're from, as opposed to Americans who go, why ain't you like me?
Kim, actually, it's funny. Kim gets annoyed like anytime I hear an accent. I mean, I realize it comes off kind of rude, but I try to be very positive about it. Just like, oh, I see you have an accent. Where are you from? Oh, what brings you here? Why are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
Again, trying to be positive, so it's not like, you're some dirty foreigner. Why are you here?
Where are you from? They wear shoes where you're from, foreigner?
Yeah, right. No, exactly. But yeah, like, and then like when we went on the cruise last time, like it was crazy just because like all the Brazil, like the boat was full of Brazilians. Dear Lord. Like, and I'm not talking crew, I'm talking passengers. And
yes,
this boat
so you would have kept wearing everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You went. I get it. Yeah.
Well, but it was funny because like I'd hear somebody speak in Portuguese, and like a few times I would jump in and start having a conversation with them, and then they'd turn to Kim, and she's like, "Nope, I got nothing here." So
what I've discovered over the years is when I'm dealing with someone who has an accent, and I'm not in the student teacher relationship, I just always go, "Oh my God, I love your accent. Where are you from?"
Right.
And then right away they're like, "Oh," they get so excited about it all of a sudden,
Well, yeah, and like actually the funny thing, like with the Brazilians, the funniest thing was actually like the crew on the ship, because like, so they have a name tag and it always says where they're from. Okay,
Yeah.
at least the country. And so if I ever saw somebody from Brazil, I would just say hi to them in Portuguese. And like before I said anything, they've got like, this stern look on their face. They're just doing their work. It's fine. I mean, they're working. They're not supposed to be happy, But as soon as I spoke Portuguese to them, suddenly they're all excited. Oh, are you Brazilian? No, I'm just some weird American who lived there 25 years ago. But but I'd ask them, where are you from? How long you been on the ship? What's going on? And they always appreciate it.
Oh, fuck yeah. But this is the thing that people don't understand, right? Is that how do I put this? There's this mentality. Okay, here's a perfect example. I had a class one time. We're on the first day of class. So I got 25 people, and we're just going around. This is all adults, right? We're going around, where are you from? What brings you here? Blah, blah, blah. Doing that usual introduction, break the ice thing. And by the third guy from Egypt, I go, all right, listen, anybody else here from Egypt? And like two other guys put up their hands. All right, there's 5 of you. We're establishing a ground rule right now. No pyramid building. We got that? And the 5 of them laughed. One guy laughed so hard his eyes were watering. But these 2 white girls were absolutely offended and went to HR and complained that I was being culturally insensitive.
Yeah. Whatever.
This is our problem in the world. White people are so afraid.
No. White women.
Okay. White women.
I believe we call them Karens.
And a certain type of white male. Okay.
The white men who follow them.
Well, that's why I said a certain type of white.
Right.
Because we're not allowed to say beta anymore, because now it's beta and alpha doesn't exist anymore. Well, they might not exist in the animal kingdom, but they sure as fuck exist in the human kingdom. But anyway, they're so afraid of being seen as racist or insensitive or all this type of stuff that they have to just sort of lock themselves into this I can't say anything ever world. And what happens is, so this is something that happened with my students. I had a bunch of students that were Caribbean and African, right? So a mix of black people. And one day we're all just hanging out, talking on the floor because the lines are dead, so nobody can work, and we're all just killing time till the system comes back up. And I'm just hanging out because I was doing some floor coaching. And one of the guys from the Caribbean goes, "Hey, Bear, you black?" And I'm like, "What? No, 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 no." And I held up my arm and I pointed to my, my fish belly white skin. And I'm like, "I am so white, I'm almost translucent. Do you understand? I am not black." And the Caribbean guys all kept going, "Yeah, I know, you black, you black, you black." And then this one girl from Kenya goes, she goes, "No, Bill, you are black." And I said, "What? Okay, why? Why do you guys think I'm black?" And she said to me the most amazing thing. It opened my eyes to everything. So this was about 2009, 2010. She said, "When white people talk to us, we watch them think before they speak. They're constantly choosing their words very carefully how they speak to us. You just talk to us like we're people." And I was like, "Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm still not black, but I get what you're saying. Like, I understand that now. And it's got to be something, and we can't see it because of, the world we live in. And I guess you'd use the word privilege, though I hate it, is that we don't understand what it's like to be like that. Maybe even when we travel to other countries, they don't treat us like that. You know what I mean? This idea of constantly thinking before they speak because they don't want to offend. They don't want to. That's got to be exhausting to deal with all the fucking time. And that's why I love Indian guys. Because Indian guys will literally stand in front of you and talk to each other in, Gujarati or Hindustani or whatever the fuck, and talk shit about you right in front of you. Like, you're there and they're talking shit about what a piece of shit white person you are. And I fucking love that because that's balls.
No, but I have a problem with that because you're doing it in another language. Do it in my if you want to talk crap, do it in my language. And
no, that would never happen.
No, but that's that's the thing. That's the only reason they think they can get away with it.
Yeah, which makes it funny.
Well, no, but no, because when I was in Brazil, I had a couple of Brazilian companions, and they got very upset when I would be around other Americans and I would just be speaking English.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? That's totally fair. I can speak Portuguese, so if I'm here, I should be.
Sure.
Yeah. So, you know what? If you want to talk crap, but don't do it. Don't do it to be sneaky. Because
but Indian guys will never talk shit to a white guy's face because of the British Raj, right? Like, that's sort of programmed into them. It's so insane. We used to go for cigarette breaks at the call center, and me and the other trainer, Jonathan, would be smoking. And there's this one Indian guy we hung out with all the fucking time. He was an agent. He wasn't management, but he was a cool guy, and we hung out with him all the time. We had him in a number of cross trainings, all this stuff. Just a cool guy. But every time we'd go for a cigarette, he'd leave the smoking area, go out to the street, and go around the corner. So one day we're like, "Fuck this." We go around the corner. We're like, "I wonder what the fuck's going on." And he goes, "Oh no, I cannot smoke in front of my teachers." We're like, "We're not your fucking teachers, man. We're just guys you work with. Relax." But they have so many weird social things, social cues they have to deal with in Indian culture. A lot of them based around caste or social status or things like that, or positions of power. So it's really fucking, because sometimes it's hard to sort of navigate it because you're sort of like, "Well, I didn't realize it." I offended a Algerian guy one time because he asked for something off my desk. And I went, "Yeah, here," and I threw it to him. And he just watched it fly, hit his chest, hit the floor, and got super mad at me and stormed out of the class. And I'm like, "What the fuck was that about?" And then two of the other North African guys are like, "Yeah, in Algerian and some North African cultures, if you throw something at someone, it's like it's insulting." And I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, we're in Canada now. Stop." Like, you can't do that. We worked it out. But I said to him, "Man, you're in Canada. You cannot expect us to know your cultural faux pas from your country. So you have to think when someone does something that would upset you, you have to stop and think for a second. Do they know that they're doing this to be insulting, or are they just doing it because in their culture it means nothing?" He's like, "No, I see your point. I see your point." And I'm like, "Okay, thanks. I'm glad you see my point, because fuck." If I want to insult you, I'll use my words. That's what I'll do, So it's fun. Once in a while it backfires. I've had people talk shit about me thinking I wouldn't understand the jaw dropping thing. When I said something, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, dude, I learned the Indian word, the Hindu word gora, which is also in Punjabi. Gora means whitey." so I just be listening and be like, "Pago Gora," which means crazy white people. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "Oh," and I just look at them and I just go, "Pago Gora." They'd be like, how do you know this word? Motherfuckers, I've spent 9 years with a brown girl. I know a lot of your words. But that's the thing. Like, we need to be more open. We need to be more flexible. But we don't need is a bunch of white apologists running around pretending that white culture sucks and white culture. If white culture, we'll say, and when we say white culture, we mean really North American Western culture, is so bad and so awful. Why is everyone in the world trying to go there? Why has my country added 1 million new people in the last couple of years? Like, if it's so hot, if it's so awful and so horrible and so, let's get our heads out of our asses and get back to a point where we try and be better and show the world a better way of life. Because that's what we used to do in both our countries, Australia, actually all three, Australia, Canada, and the US. As all children of England, we used to show that, yeah, England's fucked up, but they had some good ideas, and here's how we've made them better. You know what I mean? Like, that was what was good about our three countries. If we get a New Zealander in here, we'd have the fucking, the four corners of ex-British awesome. But
I
now
agree. Canonizing people was great.
Well, hey, I've never said the British British Empire did perfect things. But let me ask you a question. Would you rather be in a former British colony, a former Spanish colony, a former French colony, a former Portuguese colony, or wait, a former Belgian or German colony? If you had to pick one of those, like, you're getting colonized no matter what, which one of those would you prefer to colonize your people?
Oh.
Let's see. The others fucked all your women, left half-breed babies behind, made you Catholic, and fucked off with all your resources. And then the British went, well, we like it here, but it's terribly hot, so we're going to build some infrastructure to cool off the air a little bit. I mean, these roads are absolutely garbage. We're going to build some better roads. My Lord, man, can you read and write now? We're going to build some schools so that you can communicate with us better. This is Stephen. We're going to call him the Governor General. We're going to leave him behind. You just make sure the spices keep coming. Oh, and put the Queen on your money. Thank you. Tip, tip, goodbye. Big difference between the two. And then when you go around the world, other than the Indians who sort of got really fucked in the partition, most former British colonies are the less crazy places on the planet. Look at what former Spanish colonies are like. Look at South America and Central America. It gets a little woo down there sometimes. Look at all the fucking French colonies, the African colonies, from Belgium, from Germany. They're kind of crazy places. And there's a lot of war, a lot of civil war, a lot of strife. Because the British were the only ones who went somewhere and went, well, we want to stay here. Where the rest were just like, ugh, we just want all your riches. Leave us the fuck alone. And so it's a different beast. Not saying the British were perfect, but if you had to pick the lesser evil, they were the lesser evil for sure. At least from my perspective.
I don't know. I keep hearing that actually, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
No, don't. No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say,
you have perspective. You've lived in other countries.
No, I mean, I like the current thing is constantly hearing about how the immigrants are the ones that built the United States and England and Australia and whatnot. When
no convicts built Australia.
Right,
yeah,
but which convicts?
The Irish specifically, but that's neither here nor there.
And in Brazil, like it, I don't know. Like I can understand the perspective, but it does also kind of make me wonder because again, you look at the places that the French and the Belgians and the Germans and whatnot left behind.
Yeah.
And they're always notoriously corrupt.
And notoriously violent and notoriously dangerous. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, like don't get me wrong. I love Brazil. I want to go back. I could not see myself live. Like I even said it back then when I came home. I could not see myself living there. It's like it is very interesting, especially when you look at like how former English colonies have developed into such high trust societies.
Yeah.
Whereas like in Brazil, like here, you walk up and you knock on somebody's door. In Brazil, you ain't getting within 20 feet of the door.
Yeah.
Normally. Everybody's got walls around their yard. The walls, because they're all poor, are covered in, like the tops, they put down concrete and embed, broken glass,
Oh, wow.
because they can afford that. But that's normal.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
It's crazy. It's weird.
Right. And I don't want to speak ill of other people, but it is just one of those things that what went right under the former British colonies that didn't go right under all the others.
Well, it's because the British were terribly. Well, it boils down to a simple thing. So once upon a time, I used to work with a French guy from France, and hey guys, the operations manager for the program, the guy who was in charge of our division of what we were doing on Apple Care, pissed me off one day. But I was just an agent; I wasn't a trainer for that. And he said something that I really was annoyed by it. I went, "What? So that's what you expect me to do? He's going to just do?" He's like, and he gave me this look because he was like North African. He was like, you couldn't believe I was talking back to him. I was inferior. How dare I? Right? And then it's the end of her walking away to where I have to go. He goes, "Listen, I understand complaining. I'm French. It's a national sport for us." But he sort of tried to make the case, and I'm like, "No, fuck him." But it's the truth. Everyone complains. But the British mentality, which is the Protestant work ethic at the end of the day, was complain, but find a solution. It's okay to complain so long as you're finding a solution, right? So the British, everywhere they went, was hot and shitty to them. And the temperature, the British are constantly never happy with the weather. It's just a cultural thing for them. Even their own weather, they fucking hate, right? So they tried to civilize, in their mind, using the word they would have used, the area they were in to be tolerable for them. That had the knock-on effect of providing infrastructure, education, government, laws, things like that. So it reminds me of that, well, apart from medicine, irrigation, health, roads, cheese, education, baths, and the Circus Maximus, what have the Romans ever done for us? That's the sort of mentality of it, right? Everybody else, they just killed them. And that's different. And it's a very different thing. Yes, the British killed a lot of people, but their ledger is not anywhere near as dark with blood as the French ledger is, or the German, or the Belgian ledger. The Belgian ledger is one of the worst, right? Like, who knew these fucking Flems were going to be the most bloodthirsty colonizers ever? But there it is. So that's what I would say went right in a weird roundabout way, was that the British trying to make their lives more comfortable rather than sitting in a shitty place with mosquito nets and a fan overhead, fanning themselves, wearing a Panama hat, going, "Oh, these fuck it is hurt and these people are animals." Instead of doing that, they were like, "Well, we could put in a system of ventilation, maybe some clean water." Like they were sort of like, that was the British mentality, and it had a knock-on effect, which is really kind of cool. But again, then you take the Indian perspective. The partition was a horrible thing. If you've ever read the history of the partition, it was a British guy who had never been to India, who was sent there by the crown to solve this fucking problem, showed up and went, line. All right, I'm done. I'm going back to England, because he couldn't take the heat. You know what I mean? He couldn't stand the subcontinental heat and temperature. So he fucking divided things, as opposed to looking at the cultures that were there, the religions, and going, okay, we'll divide them by the lines of the religion. He ran borders straight through cultures. So you get the Punjab, which you've got the Punjab on both sides, Pakistan and India. But the Punjabi people are neither Muslim nor Hindu. They're Sikh for the most part. But he split them down the middle between two countries because the guy didn't give a fuck. It's the exact same thing they did in the Middle East when they created Jordan and all those places, and they just divided lines up and ran lines right through Shia and right through Sunni areas and didn't give a fuck. That's the British problem, is that they didn't sometimes bother. They were just wanted to get it fucked over with and have a solution so they could move on with their day, because they were already leaving. So in their leaving, they didn't give a fuck. They gave a fuck while they were there. But after they left, they're like, you know. And surprisingly, I live in a country that suffers from that because of all the bullshit they did with France. There's this whole thing called the Quebec Act. And I'm sure Slan knows what I'm talking about because he lives here and he's probably learned about it because he went to French school. And the Quebec Act was done by this governor, Dorchester, who basically convinced the Queen of England to let the French Canadians keep their language and keep their religion of Catholicism. Well, might have seemed like a good idea in 1772 or whatever it was, but here we are in 2025, and it's a never-ending constant thorn in the side of Canadian unity, right? Is this whole Quebec, we're different, we're independent, we can do what the fuck we want, where ultimately, had they been assimilated into Canadian culture, allowed, like, you know, not stamped out, but said, look, we're not going to let you have government in your own language or things like that. You're going to have to learn English. The country might be more stable as a result, but it's not. So it'll be. But
Right.
You can't see the future. Yeah, why is Kurdistan not a country? I will never understand the Arabic nation's hatred of the Kurds, especially given Saladin was a Kurd, and Saladin is like one of their greatest heroes. They love to sing the praises of Saladin, but it's like the way they all hate Kurds, and the Turks don't help either on that one. It's so weird. But I do think it's funny that during the ISIS campaign, Kurdish female division was killing ISIS members. These hardcore, you know, women are animals to be kept for breeding mentality are getting slaughtered by female Kurdish fighters. Like, I think that must have been fucked for their heads, you know. But good, fuck you. Anyway, let's not go too far.
Oh, not go too far. I mean,
Yeah.
we've probably offended, I don't know, at least half the world today.
Well, that's okay. We also offended white women, so we're good. That's a net positive.
Yeah, but insulting white women is like shitting fish in a barrel. There's no
Insulting
fun in
women.
it.
Breathing. Just a matter of course.
And I'm gonna go with Seraphis, and I'm gonna have to say it's the white Karens.
Yeah,
It's the ones that aren't.
fucking lot of them.
I know exactly. There are a lot of them. So anyhow,
that's okay. I found out, according to X and TikTok, gingers are black. That's the new thing. Gingers are
That's the
black.
new
We're
thing.
black. So, and I'm a ginger, so I am black, and I'm sick of the man keeping me down.
That's funny.
What do they call them in French? Marie Karen? What the fuck is a French Karen name? Slam? You know, like that bit in West Side Story where the guy runs through Spanish Harlem yelling Maria at the top of his lungs and only one woman comes to the window? All right. Well, in Quebec, Marie-Claude, Marie-Hélène, Marie-Catherine, Marie-Karine, like there's Mary, and then the second name is like insanely common here.
I always thought it was yeah, right. Oh, it's absolutely a Catholic thing because when I was in Brazil, like there are a bunch of dudes that were named Jose Maria. Which is all one word, and then there were a bunch of ladies, Maria Jose. So Mary and Joseph, you know, just which direction? Like,
well,
okay.
My friend's wife's cousin is married to a Mexican guy named Jose, but he met him at the family Christmas party, and they were referring to him as Jose all night long. Jose, Jose, Jose. And he's like, who the fuck is Jose? And they're like, him. He's like, you mean Jose? And to his credit, he looked at me and went, it's okay. I've gotten used to it. I just thought that was like so charming that the guy was just like, I can't expect them to have a fucking brain in their head. Yeah, Marie Karine. Karine, right? Karine.
Oh, Seraphis, was it Father's Day for you too today?
No?
I don't think so.
Do you guys not have it in June?
I don't think so.
Well, happy American Father's Day then.
7th of September is Father's Day in Australia.
Oh.
Everything in the Southern Hemisphere makes no fucking sense. I like in the middle of November, I'm getting my Colombian girls going, "Oh, happy Valentine!" I'm like, it's fucking November. What are you talking about? Oh, no. Fuck. Or International Men's Day is different in South America than it is the rest of the world. Like, you know, so I'll get like these. I can't remember what day it is, but it's like somewhere in like the middle of like winter. Happy Men's Day. I'm like, what? And check my calendar. Oh,
Depends on where you're a man. No,
yeah, exactly.
Isn't Everyday Man's Day?
My pants.
Is
What was
it?
that?
Isn't Everyday Man's Day?
Is it? Do we need to bring Grim on this conversation?
No, she just went to bed.
I know how Kim's going to answer that question.
Feeding your remains to the chickens.
Yes. Exactly.
Just reminder, if Kim needs to know, and this, you can give this to Grim as well if you guys watch the replay on this, not that I think Kim ever would. When you bury them, plant tomatoes. Tomatoes will destroy and decompose their bodies much faster than any other plant, leaving behind no traces of actual human remains for the most part, except for bones. And you'll get these big, fat, plump tomatoes out of it. So, lessons learned from reading books about mob culture. Plant tomatoes on top of their bodies.
Actually, that is kind of a running joke with us. So we were playing during COVID. Like I got a screaming deal on a legacy board game. If you're not familiar with those, basically it's, you know, you play a session and then you make literal changes, like tear up pieces, throw cards away, write stuff on things, you know. And so we were playing this one, and basically it's about a haunted house. And at one point, you know, it was talking about, you know, burying dead bodies in the garden. And so that kind of became the joke that, you know, like Kim's like, hey, I need help, you know, planting something in the garden. And she's speaking about me.
Wow.
So
Do you ever play Magic? You guys played Magic, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever play Iron Man Magic?
No, I've not played Iron Man anything.
Iron Man Magic, there was the rule, for those who don't know, was when the card went to the graveyard, if you couldn't restore it immediately, you tore the card up. My buddy Jeff in Vancouver at a comic shop, he had been part of the alpha play test for Magic because he knew the guys that basically he knew one of the guys who was involved in it, and he got in really early. Met him at, I think, some convention in Seattle or something. I can't remember how he got it. So he had shit tons of alpha cards. Like literally, he put his son through college.
Sure.
Selling his cards, right? So we're playing fucking, this is 96. We're playing fucking Iron Man. And I'm sad that I had to tear up my the giant bees, because I had a giant bees card from an earlier set that was actually worth like, you know, $75 or something, and I had to tear it up, and I was like, fucking you, Jeff, you fucker. And then one of the guys fucking dispelled his fucking Black Lotus. And he had to tear up the Black Lotus, which at the time was worth $800. And all the fucking people watching the game were like, no. One guy's like, dude, I will fucking write you a check for that card right now before you tear it up. And Jeff, who had 6 of them, just goes, I thought some of these guys were going to start crying, man. So like when you're talking about like changing the rules, tearing up cards and shit like that, it reminds me of Iron Man Magic.
Oh, trust me. The first time we played, and it's like, okay, take this and destroy it. And like me, who has a giant collection of board games, being told, destroy this thing. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
What game was this?
This one was Betrayal Legacy. So there's a game called Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that. Love it.
Yeah, I'm mixed on it. But they did a legacy one, and so essentially it's the story of how this haunted house came to be. And mild spoiler for the game, just in case anyone plays it. At the very, very end of it, so you've played through all of these stories leading up to the end. The one of the last things that you read talks about these characters coming up to this old haunted house, and it's all the characters from the original Betrayal at House on the Hill board game. And so essentially the legacy game leads up to the current day. So I really like how they did that. Worst part is we've got like 3 episodes to finish. It's like it's 15 sessions. Getting a group of people to commit to 15 sessions is not the easiest.
Dude, I run role-playing games. Of course I know what you're talking about when it comes to that.
Well, and especially when some of them are not as hardcore board gamers as you are. So
I
Yeah,
don't
how
board
many-
game, but I appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
How many times did I have to kick your ass, Brian, to get you to keep doing the Eberron deep dive?
you didn't have to kick my ass at all.
There were a few times when you were like, "Oh, I don't want to do it today." I'm like, "Dude, it's today, or we wait a week."
No, I know. That was just me being whiny, but we still did it.
So Dave Scott reached out to me randomly. Like, it was so funny because I'd been talking with someone about, we got to get Dave Scott back on the Four Color Cafe. That day I get this Discord message from Dave going, "Hey, when can I be on your show again?" I'm like, I love this guy. Like, I'm sorry. I just love this guy. His energy is so good.
Oh yeah, no, I still need to get him on. I need to finish doing my review on the book. I am just so tired. I've literally worked every day since the 31st of May.
Well, that's stupid.
I mean, I get paid hourly. So
Yeah, and you also, like, most of your job is doing fuck all and sitting around waiting.
I wouldn't say F all, but it's a lot of that.
For everybody watching, the body language, the translation of "I wouldn't say F all" is it's F all.
No, I'm just saying it's close. It's not F all, but it's in the neighborhood.
Oh, well, fair enough. So I know.
Hey,
I don't know if you
Judge.
saw or not. Hey, well, wow, 2 of them showed up at once.
How's
I don't
life
know
in
if you guys
Walla
saw-
Walla, Wamby Lou, or wherever the fuck you are?
Jesus Christ, you are loud.
Yeah, Doc, turn down your gain, bro.
You don't have to tell people you're American, man, because it just shows when you walk in the door. Hey, what's going on? Let me tell you something. I just want to say this. I don't know if I shared with you guys, because I did on my channel. Squirrel Hermit sent a bunch of us books for, he's cleaning out his collection. He's like, "Hey, do you want any of this stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd like this, this, and this. How much do you want for it?" He just went, "Haha, I already have your address. Fuck you." And then sent me 2 boxes of gaming books. It was insane. But I want to show you something he sent me, which I'd heard of, but never read. Grimhollow.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys know anything about this?
Yes.
I sort of came across it.
The name, really?
One of my
First of all,
places
the
playing
box is quality. It even came with a pin. Like a Grimhollow pin. Like, how fucking weird.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
probably
all
from the back of
hardcover.
kit.
It's definitely, he definitely supported the thing. But I guess it's 5e or something? Is that what
Yep,
it
it
is?
is. Yep.
Because it's got the book, which is
Yep.
thick as fuck. And then I got a bunch of weird stuff that came with it. Some sort of poster or something. That new trend in standees that I can't stand, where they're cut to the shape of the character, which annoys me. I guess this is the Layers of Entharis. This must be the adventure that came with it. And then there's a map pack, which is, again, thick as fuck.
Wait, so hold up. Is that giant book? Is that like a full on like 5e clone like Everyday Heroes, or is that literally just a setting book?
So that's a setting book with expansions to their own races and the rules that they have made around the Grim Hollow world.
So you still have to have you still
Yeah, you still need 5e. You still need
Okay.
that. But like this is like
Yeah,
them good.
yeah, no,
right?
it's all
This is-
monsters and shit. It's not. Yeah, this is all just setting. So the next time someone tells me I do too much on settings, they can all lick me where I poop because clearly I'm a fucking rank amateur compared to
look
these guys.
until you have 8 books on the Sword Coast. I don't want to hear it, Bear.
Does it specifically have to be the Sword Coast?
Yes.
Yes,
Fuck. All right,
I don't care.
I guess I'll have to add the Sword Coast to something. Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
surprised you haven't already. Everybody else has.
What's up, Sax? What's up, Doc?
Not a whole lot. I have never played in the Sword Coast, I will say. Unless the
did.
Baldur's Gate video game counts.
That counts.
It does. Fuck you.
Oh, damn.
It counts.
Yeah. I don't know, like at my Rogue Trader game yesterday and preparing for what could potentially be a very big and fun and brutal fight for the players. And basically sitting down and doing the last bit of calculation since my players decided that they don't want to deal with accountancy and handed it all over to their NPC. So who I basically went like, right, well, they're gonna do what you've told them to do. We just make money. Cool.
Wait. Your players don't count or care about accountancy? Why are
No,
they
so-
still your players? Why have you not fired them yet?
Yeah. Or at least put them on a pip. You know, a person.
Yeah, right.
So, because we are, needing to do the exploration side, not the logistical side, so they need to find the places to exploit. So they've done that, but they've gone, right, we're now going to offshore all of this to the NPCs. Do we really need this, Oscar? It's like, no, technically you don't. So they're going to deal with that, earn some money on that, and then...
I'm a
funnily
little
enough, they-
disappointed that he didn't take the joke.
But what's
No,
there
no.
is wall-to-wall Excel.
Brian, you will quickly learn that when you do jokes, unless it's like if it's deadpan jokes, they will fly over my head unless I'm already in sync with what's going on.
That's
Plus, in my head, I've been like, wait, they handed off all the bookkeeping to the NPCs? Well, how do you make fucking Saxis any harder running a game? You know, like,
Well,
I get to run the game? I get to do all of the Excel?
I was so excited because I actually got to sit down and do a full presentation of the support ships that had come.
How many slides were in your PowerPoint?
No, so that's so there were 8 in total with 2 presenters.
As he's going through, they get to this one
Hold
picture of the chick in battle armor. Oh, that's Karen. I don't know how she got in there.
Whoa. Hold on. Did anybody miss the fact that he said there were 8 slides and 2 presenters? He had a co-host for the presentation.
I have a question. Sax,
Sorry, Brian, you just need to get onto a different level that I play at.
I am not anywhere near that level.
There's 2D, 3D, 4D, and then there's square root RPG.
Yeah, square root D.
Go on, Seraphis.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much did your NPCs end up charging the PCs to do all their spreadsheet work and accounting?
So effectively, they were meant to earn. So in this game, it's called profit factors, which is like one profit factor is meant to be like $500 million in terms, like if you were to equate it into actual money. That's what they're absorbing in for this. That's
Yeah, Slant put it best. When Saxius walks onto the battlefield, high on his pennant flying is a fucking graph.
enemies encountered, enemies defeated. Just whoop.
There's that one little dip during the War of the Roses and then back up. You know.
Yeah, we were not efficient. It was a management issue. We have resolved this. And
really thought the Lancasters were going to do better. You know?
they were oversold. Well, no, so that was a lot of fun. doing that presentation, because I genuinely got in there. I'm like, oh no, so we've got this ship, it's got not just a cargo, but we've also got the cybernetic division, who will then be able to take your people, lobotomize them, turn them into these robots, and we can do all of these like really cool things. We can optimize and streamline these things. Like some of the, when the players were going through it, I was like, okay, so this is a presentation. You need to roll, because it's like, are you actually going to be paying attention to all of this? Roll for your awareness to see if you pick up the nuances and so on, and no one passed. They were all zoning out. So I just went, right, so based on that, I'm now going to trim down on the information you're actually going to be getting, so you don't get the critical stuff.
That's right, you heard it here. Hot accounting gaming action.
I've got like of my players.
Found the interest.
See,
no, I didn't. I'll roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, but I've already got like 3 players who have admitted that they've generated Excel sheets to keep up with the XP and the XP, because you can invest your XP into your characters to buy new skills and abilities. And they've basically sat down and gone like, right, what do I need to do going forward with the progression and the possibilities as the things unlock?
I'd like to point out this is why I don't show any of my beta stuff to Saxius and go, any thoughts on the system that maybe I could tweak? Because what I call crunch, he calls porridge. You understand? Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's also why I'm running Warhammer, which is a crunch-heavy game. Like, it's all about, like, taking every single action and then stacking on and being like, okay, so I'm now going to be reading the scanners, but I'm going to have 2 people who is going to be helping me to do that, which gives me a plus 20 bonus. I'm going to take the benefit of us having an auger array or a satellite that's focusing on these things, and then we're going to have the technical engines here tweak the wave so that I get another plus 10 from that, so that we get like a plus 48 and roll on D100s, plus my own bonuses, so on and so on. Like that's the sort of crunchiness that I roll with.
Saxius heard his players had created spreadsheets and he was upset because they didn't come to him for advice.
No, I'm amazed they didn't need me for this. I've had other... No, from my experience, I've come across a lot of people who are not savvy with Excel. It's not a major requirement. I've just found that a lot of the jobs I enter into, it is a requirement where it's like you need to be at least literate in numbers or in some form of how to handle data as it's coming your way.
Oh, yeah. Excel was this wonky little thing that I got with my Microsoft until I started working in corporations, and then Excel became a part of my life. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck is this? AutoCAD's not part of my life. Why the fuck is this part of my life?
I mean, you can also go down the route of like Microsoft database, but that's just a different beast in its own. Like Excel is nice and like simple. That's meant to be puppets kind of thing. Whereas Microsoft database is then like the industrial engine that pushes it all.
Hold on,
through.
Access or SQL Server?
I think it's Access. Sorry, yeah. Not SQL Server, but yeah, Microsoft Access. That's the one that I've seen where we've basically like shoved a metric ton of data in to basically get the output and the heads up.
You guys realize the day is coming where you're going to join one of Sax's campaigns and there's going to be a SharePoint for it, right? Like you understand that's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, Saxius, just so Kim's in the kitchen right now, and with all of this spreadsheet talk. She says that she wants to get a game in with you when we come to England in April or September. Anyway,
if I was in one of Saxius's games, I would be terrified to do anything. Oh, let's hire some porters, and he takes out this like 800-page contract law. I was like, oh Jesus!
All the porters we have available are from Beta Arcanus 3, and Beta Arcanus 3 porters have all of these holy days, and this is their work ethic, and they will not work after sundown.
So I'm not going to be bombarding you with actual legalese and anything like that. I'm just going to be sitting going, right, so what do you want? You want to hire hirelings, great. What's the quality of the hirelings you want to go for, right? It's high quality, right? You're either going to be having a difficult time to getting into the social circles to find these places, or you're going to have to heft out more money. Let's go down to various criteria of what you want to have. and do a roll.
I'd shoot him. Just shoot him.
But how close are you to shoot him? Because that will give you a bonus.
I
aim?
shoot myself.
Did you aim?
I leave this campaign. Good day, sir. Good day. You know, like, my God.
You are leaving nothing. You signed a contract.
Resurrect him. He still has a debt to pay.
Too funny. Too funny.
Yeah, but that's I enjoyed that, and there was a whole bunch of NPCs that's come in, and we ended the session where the players went, all right, we're going to do a deep scan, we're going to find something that's not on the map, bunch of things pinged up, and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to go to that one over there, because there's clearly a sun, but there's also some form of like man-made or like something's been built that generates a lot of radiation, and that's not normal. It could be a station of some form. So they warped their way over there. Took them about 14 days in high speed. Arrived, and then it's like, oh, would you look at that? You arrived at a ragdoll nesting home. For those of you who are unaware of what a ragdoll is, how do I put it? The size of an ogre, built like a centaur. It is a lizard creature with 4 arms, and they like to rip their own arms off and replace them with chainsaws and run towards you to rip you apart. Lovely, lovely creatures.
So Tuesday.
I mean, by my standards, yeah. So that's what they've come up against, and they realized, oh, the thing that we were picking up on with all of this radiation was the planet they've just bombed it into the Stone Age with radiation to make their nesting home. Oh dear God! And there are 7 of their ships coming towards us. So the players now need to either hide, ideally, wait 1d5 days while the navigator charts for them to escape. And if they can't, then we can only hope that the helmsman can get them out of Dodge. Yeah, that's that. I know it's... okay, I'll shut up.
Sounds interesting. Do you have detailed... No, don't ask questions. What the hell's wrong with me? Stop.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer
will be
to.
yes.
Seriously.
So
Start.
last there you go.
I know, I've just been spending most of the day playing around with the system to make sure I get the enemy's guns working, because the macros I was building weren't really adding up right. So hopefully, come next session, if I can catch the players, I will have their ships be boarded, rammed, and shot to pieces.
I was just going to say, so last weekend we got to play our extra long 3.5 game.
Nice.
Ooh.
So you got through 2 rounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you get through the fight yet?
Not the fight yet. I got thrice possessed.
Nice.
So 3 rounds.
At the same time.
So was it the same demon that came in and was like, oh, love, no, not dealing with that. Came back and was like, how do I keep ending up here? And the third one got, it's fine, I'm living here now.
So artificer. So I was examining magic artifacts that we found.
Yep.
The first one, my character is chaotic good. The first one was a chaos dagger with a entity inside of it. I rolled a 20 on it, and we became bros. Then I examined a headband, and I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it completely possessed me. So now there's a chaos entity and this maybe abyssal demon fighting for control. But it doesn't want to be known that it's currently possessing me, so I'm playing it as if I'm not.
Wait, so you have 2 entities fighting each other over control of your mind. So you've basically gridlocked them.
But wait, it's pretending to be me. So there was one more artifact. It seems to have been the possession of some kind of necromancer who put his phylactery inside this ring.
Look, this is a family show. No.
So the demon was like, "Oh, it's power. We want to put it on." So I put it on. Turns out the Lich's consciousness was still inside.
Oh dear fucking lord.
So my artificer is currently like,
Are you just in a comatose right now? Because like you've got a lich, a demon, and some form of outsider. All three of them standing there, guns trained towards each other, going like.
And they all walked into the bar. No.
Well, the bar is his head, and they're just like, who is controlling what? One person goes, "I'll take his left leg," and immediately yanks him over there. Another one goes like, "I'll take the arms," and he starts flailing around. It's like, well, I'll control his speech, and starts gibbering in a language that he doesn't know, which damages his throat. You can just see like how his character just starts ragdolling around.
I did.
Oh my god!
Does he just like walk into places like flailing around?
Oh,
You okay,
no.
Bob? Fine.
Surface, your character became Octodad.
Octodad?
Octodad is a video game where you play as an octopus dad, but you have to control every limb as he moves around. So you're basically like throwing the creature halfway across the screen.
It's ridiculous. It's
It's amazing. I will hear no slander towards Octodad. He is a supporting husband.
And he does his best all the time.
Yeah. I'm just gonna have to quickly step away.
No, please. What the fuck?
So they managed to get the crown off, so the demon might not be possessing me anymore. The GM was kind of vague on that. We had a back and forth email. The conclusion is I don't know whether it's still possessing me or not.
It is.
He mentioned something about proximity during the conversation, and I was like, yeah. That's troubling. And so, effectively, I'm still thrice possessed. But as far as they know, the demon was the only one possessing me.
As far as they know, it's down to 2.
No, as far as they know, I'm fine now. So there's just a lich and a chaos entity currently in here going like,
So they're having a Mexican standoff in your head.
Hey, culturally insensitive, Bear.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're having a beaner standoff in your head. Sorry. I couldn't resist that one. What level are you guys?
average level is like 21.
Oh, fucking 3rd edition. No wonder your fights take 8 years. 3rd edition is a nightmare at high levels.
I'm level 16, so I'm getting all the XP.
Congratulations.
But yeah, so that was fun.
Apparently.
Completely by accident, but yeah.
Thank you for
Thrice
saying by
possessed.
accident and not saying on accident. Every time I hear these people today say on accident, I just want to fucking punch them.
On accident.
Yeah, it's on purpose. It's by accident. For fuck's sake, like Jesus Christ.
What do you expect from people who don't even know how to write the language properly, let alone say it?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? You want to fuck them up. Throw a Generation Z kid into a house where all the instructions are in cursive and there's a rotary telephone. And they have to find the number in a Rolodex. Well, they don't even know what that is.
I'm proud to say my kids would.
Yeah, but you also live in the Stone Ages.
No, I've got fiber optic internet now.
No, that's just so the government can watch you.
Oh no, like they weren't already doing that because I've done things in the past.
Because I'm in a safe space here. I was watching a review, and it's a guy that I've enjoyed watching reviews from before, but he's doing a review of Delta Green.
Is he black?
Uh-oh.
No, he's British.
Ah.
But he goes off. He's going along. He's like, and so yeah, I realize that we're all terrified because of how America is becoming this fascist police state. But you are going to be playing government agents in this game, and I'm just like, you guys get arrested for tweets.
Yeah.
But we're the problem?
Yeah. My entire Reddit feed yesterday, because Reddit will suggest shit to you as opposed to just showing you the feed that you wanted. It'll be littered with here's other stuff that you might be interested in. And it was all pictures of the No Kings rallies that were happening yesterday. And I'm like, why am I seeing nothing but Antifa, Palestinian flags, and fucking unwashed hippies? What the fuck? Why? What in my browsing history on Reddit makes you think this is what I want to see?
Oddly, those protests never happen in the 2A states. It's strange.
There was a big one in Florida.
Oh, probably in like Gainesville, maybe.
No, I think it was in Orlando. No, Miami. There was a big one. Almost every state had one. It was crazy. It was like, are these people fucking like just? Do they not understand how puppeteered they are by the media at this point in time?
I thought it was hysterical that the anarchists of Antifa actually went up and beat up people for protesting against mandatory vaccines. Obviously some strange use of the word anarchist I'm not familiar with.
Yes. Why did I get moved up here?
Sax had to go.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah.
Yep.
The big XL logo appeared in the sky. They're calling me.
Yeah, exactly. And Saxius returned to his planet, never to be seen again.
Though he shall return one day, just as all Danes do.
To check everyone's books. I will return for the great audit.
The great audit. Yea, though on the day of actuary. Nobody has given me a rating or feedback on Valorous yet. I'm starting to get worried.
I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at it.
No, I get that. I'm just like, I figured, 77 downloads. You figured one person would have been like, 1 star, this sucks by now,
On YouTube?
No, on drive-thru.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on any ratings. I even gave out some free copies specifically for people to rate them.
Yeah, don't give them to me because publishers can't rate. Once you publish on drive-thru, you're no longer allowed to review or rate other people's product.
Oh, really? Oh, I was not aware of that.
It's the dumbest fucking thing.
I don't see why. I mean,
I don't either.
Kind of do, but I mean, it seems silly.
Wow, they're worried you're going to go down rate and give shit reviews to your competition. Which
I mean,
there are
the
people who
on there have something up there.
Yeah. I really wish there was an actual logistically viable competitor to drive through.
Yeah, they're really the only ones.
There was. It was called RPG Now, and I used to love RPG Now, and then drive through bought them.
Oh, this is gonna. Okay, I'm gonna bring up this topic. Consent in gaming.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You can talk to Doc. I'm gonna get a drink.
So, I've gotten the new cipher book, Neon Rain, which is about cyberpunk genre, right? And right around the same time, the digital rewards for the Welcome to Night Vale RPG came in as well. So I'm looking at both of these, and the first fucking thing I see in both of them is consent warnings. And I'm like, okay, first of all, why is that there for Welcome to Night Vale? It's about fucking weird. Why? And then I look at one of the adventures, which is called Time Blindness. And the first thing is content warning. Oh, yeah, content and consent warning about blindness and amnesia. I'm like,
People are twisted. I really hope this like fad of everyone having to like kowtow to this just goes away at some point. It probably won't. But my god.
I'm still in the middle of writing up my Cypher Neon Rain review, and I think I've spent about a third of it right now on ranting about why the goddamn fuck consent warnings are in a cyberpunk game. Have you never experienced cyberpunk? If you haven't, maybe it's not for you and you shouldn't be playing this in the first place. I'm sorry. There's some topics that get brought up.
Isn't
Why?
showing up for the game kind of giving consent? No one
Yeah.
made you in the first place. I mean,
Yeah,
you
like-
were there.
It's driving me insane. I just talking about consent in gaming.
Okay.
Short version. I got 2 RPG books come in. Both of them had consent
Yep.
notes in them.
Yep.
One of them is for Cyberpunk,
Okay.
and the other one is for the RPG for Welcome to Night Vale.
All right.
Fucking why?
We are seeing a period where this is considered to be the expected part. It's the same part of, when you open up a role-playing book, it has an whole section of what is role-playing. Because we're seeing that effectively this has been a big conversation within the sphere, publishers are going, right, well, we feel that we now need to include this. You and I will sit and go, like, we don't want this because this is not what we play for.
It's not just that. It's that, like, Neon Rain for Cypher System. That's the cyberpunk genre book, right?
Yeah.
3 times they talk about consent and content warning for a cyberpunk game. I think my 3 recurring examples of why this is retarded is Blade Runner,
Yep.
Ghost in the Shell,
Mhm.
and Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yep.
That covers pretty much your relatively broad band of cyberpunk genre. If you can't make it through any of those, you shouldn't be playing fucking cyberpunk.
No, there are also certain aspects of cyberpunk and the dystopian cyberpunk games that can get really dark if you go into the nitty gritty. Personally, I wouldn't include that because it's just not things I want to explore. But I can definitely understand that they might say, right, so let me take Shadowrun, for example. There's an entire aspect about you being able to go into the black market and you can watch effectively blood sports, but it's people's hijacked bodies you're then watching do terrible things to each other, not just in terms of murder, but anything else you can then imagine for. That's a rather dark topic to then be bringing into a role-playing game, and not everyone would be comfortable with that, but it's a part of the setting. So
Kind
I
of like the
understand
movie Gamer.
exactly like the movie Gamer, like having that entire aspect. That could be something that some players might be coming in and going like, okay, well, this is a bit something I'm not comfortable with. And I understand for something like that, you might say, right, this is going to be needing some form of warning, or you need to understand the tone of your players. But the generic setting, I do agree. Cyberpunk, you're going to be seeing a lot of death. You're going to be seeing some messed up things by our modern day standards, but that's a part of the world, and we don't really think too much about it as gamers. But then there are the other aspects where I think it takes it that extra step further, where the implication becomes a bit darker, especially if you want to really immerse yourself into the world. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just trying to explain that there are.
What games were these?
Sorry,
Sarah. What games are these that you got that had these warnings?
So the new Cyberpunk genre book for Cypher System, and the Welcome to Night Vale RPG.
Well, the Cyphers doesn't make sense because they're pussy Seattle people. So they're going to do everything they can to be, Monty Cook and that crowd are going to be all very like, oh, we got to put in X cards. And
aren't they actually like in Indiana, but whatever.
Well, didn't he fucking work out in Seattle for like 10, 15 years?
Well, and
Watsy. Yeah.
And Sean Reynolds is a big wig in Monty Cook now, and whoa, he's cuckoo crazy pants.
Super woke.
Beyond.
And regardless, this is all like table level stuff.
Well,
if you're,
right,
I
but
mean,
I mean,
if you're playing with people who have these sensitivities, then you discuss that at your table, whatever you're playing. What purpose is there to putting it in the book other than to say, "Hey, look at me"?
I have to agree with Saxius that at this point, that is quote unquote the expected thing to do. Like, what is a role playing game? No, it does waste space. It takes up printing page. It adds to page count. Blah. I don't disagree, but again, like Bear said, they're crazy Seattle people, so they all think that this is what you have to do. Like, I kid you not. Like, when the only time I've literally been okay with it is when Kim and I started reading through My Little Pony the other day. And that's because I just love
that you're doing a deep dive on MLP, man. Like, it's
you know what? Nobody else in our circle is doing it, and you know what? It's of the deep dives I've been doing, that's been the best one so far. I don't know how much of it is because it was Kim, but
100%
fair. But but the point I was trying to make though is that one I understand. Because it is a game aimed theoretically at younger kids.
Yeah.
So when it talks about, hey, maybe you need to stop and like talk things through, because a kid isn't necessarily going to separate themselves from the character. The problem is for Cypher System, for Shadowrun, for whatever, theoretically, we're all adults, but nobody can treat each other like adults anymore.
Okay, well, how do you explain the Welcome to Night Vale RPG?
Crazy woo-woo Seattle hippie people?
That's Essence 20, baby. That's Renegade.
Yeah, Renegade is super woke. Like, I'm sorry. This is a game company. The G.I. Joe presentation is being done by two overweight blue hairs. Really? That's who you want selling G.I. Joe?
Where the fuck is Sergeant Slaughter?
He came in the Sergeant Slaughter expansion.
Yes. Or do you mean where is he for like promotional purposes?
He's like 80.
I know, right?
Yeah, I know that, but like
his face looks like he's had more Botox than...
My hips hurt, and I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Like, that's probably what he's doing.
Yeah, So I'm on an RPG now. It will not let me raid anybody.
Yeah, I told you.
That's fucking weird. Yeah. Is that new? Because I'm pretty sure I've done it since I had a game up there for years and I was able to do it.
I haven't. It's been years.
Huh.
Wait, what's
If you are a publisher on Drive-Thru RPG, you cannot rate or review other games you've purchased.
You know, if you're a publisher, I actually kind of agree with that. Because then and you know, a rule like that only came about because somebody was causing a problem.
Oh, of course. No. It's when I was a kid, I used to, parents say, all it takes is one bad apple, and that's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life because you're ignoring all the good apples. Now that I live in the adult world, it's always every rule in my life that has come up, be it a safety regulation or something like this, is because one fucking idiot ruined it for everybody. One asshole took his three-wheeler over the train tracks and got hit by a thing, so now they had to ban three-wheelers. Like this type of shit. It's just, this is the mentality.
Bear.
Yes.
For future entertainment, could I recommend a channel to you?
Which one?
It's called King Trout.
Oh my gosh. He is so messed up. Dear Lord. No, he kind of runs in the same circles as the fat electrician and the unsubscribe guys.
I've seen this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched one of his videos recently where he was sitting at the table talking and his kitchen table. Yeah.
No, but actually watch if you ever watch the Unsubscribed podcast when they do their ad reads.
Yeah.
He's in, if he shows up in him, it's going to go sideways, and it's going to go sideways fast. And it's
I watched his recycling is a corporate psyop video.
Yeah, that one too.
because I have a friend of mine who's all into recycling, and I'm like, it's a fucking scam. And then he's like, I'm looking for scam videos about recycling, and I found that. I'm like, all right, let's see what this guy at his kitchen table has to say. And I was alternately fucking annoyed by him and absolutely charmed by him.
Oh yeah. Oh, he is wholly inappropriate, but it's just got a charm to it.
Well, he's living in his grandma's house for sure, because that sink is fucking from the 1930s. You know what I mean?
I was just thinking maybe we could front load all of these trigger warnings and everything, like your first day of kindergarten. They go in and they show you like a big faces of death kind of show for the whole day. And it's like, welcome to Earth, natural selection laws apply. Good luck out there.
No. I've
complained that you weren't warned.
I've said this so many fucking times over the years. We just need to remove the safety warnings for 1 year. 1 year. There are going to be a lot of dead people. And there are going to be some good people that are going to die. But boy, we're going to thin the stupid herd out real fucking quick. I've said this before. I'm sure I've said this here before. At least I said it on my channel. About 5 years ago, I'm in the fucking pharmacy doing some shit. And I see, I want a chocolate bar. I'm going to go buy a chocolate bar because I'm really in the mood for a candy bar. I want this particular candy bar. Yay. When I got to the car, I sat down and I just stopped him by. He's like, what's wrong? Are you upset with your candy? And I'm like, no. Look, and I showed him, and there were opening instructions on how to open the candy bar on the packaging of the candy bar. And all I could think to myself was, if you can't figure out how to get the candy bar out of the packaging, you don't deserve the candy bar.
I might live in a police state, but at least my candies doesn't have any instructions on how to open it.
No, they just have warnings on eating them will turn you into a communist or a fucking fascist.
No. They want you to be a communist.
Dude, we're a commonwealth.
Dude, you live in fucking police state 1. I live in police state 2. Okay, and Brian likes to go visit police state 3 often with his wife, and that's where Saxius lives, right?
No, that's police state prime.
Yeah, police state prime.
Airstrip, police state airstrip 1. Okay, what the fuck, right?
I have actually seen a hairdryer with a sticker on it telling you not to use it in the shower.
Nah, that's everywhere. Like any
Putting
electrical
aside
device.
the electrocution issue, what are you expecting to accomplish with a hairdryer while you're standing under running water?
Well,
Ask
so
that to
I am led to believe that someone at some point finished the shower and immediately went, I am going to do it now. Wow.
No,
You
no,
know
no.
why microwaves had that warning: do not put animals in microwave, right? Because of the one stupid woman who put her poodle in the microwave to dry it after washing it.
Yep.
And it's morbidly, darkly comedic. But every time I read that story or heard about that story, all I could think to myself was, poor fucking dog. You know, like to have an owner that fucking stupid, because she'd been using the oven to do it for years.
Oh dear
She didn't
Lord.
just randomly go, oh, my dog's wet, I'll put him in the microwave. No, she would wash her dog, turn the oven on to like 150 or something, and put the dog in the oven. This person
This will do it in half the time.
never mind us getting warning labels not to do it. This person should not be allowed to have pets and or access to children. Just saying. Let's talk about role-playing games, because trigger warnings. Yeah, man. It's all fucking crazy.
At the end of the day, you just curate your players. That's all it is.
Curate your players. At the end of the day, beat your players with a stick for their stupidity. That's really what it is.
No, just
I do that.
You beat them with tables.
With tables, with cables, anything I can get my hands
Chairs, small appliances, microwaves turned on.
Listen, I just embody the DM versus player mentality. Like, we really physically take it out over the table. And there are dice involved, of course.
there where I'm slamming his face into.
Exactly. See, this is entertainment people show up for. Just absolute nonsense.
Well, it is Talkin Drek.
Well, I know.
I mean, what else do you expect?
Not much.
High quality philosophical discussions and mathematical equations.
You are in the wrong place, sir.
No, I'm in the right place. I just
for
need
that
to.
conversation.
Oh no, I just need to open up my 3.5 books and Pathfinder books, and Seraphis and we can probably be discussing a number of combinations of benefits that the characters can have, bringing out the mathematical equations.
Man, I would love your take on how the fuck the elemental binding stuff works in Eberron, because I've been going over that fucking shit in the Eberron campaign setting and the Magic of Eberron books, and I do not understand how the fuck they calculated everything of how these things are meant to work, purely based on the fact that the spell component is just either planar binding or lesser planar binding. How do you get fire from planar binding? Also,
You just
how,
do it,
how does
man.
it designate which fire is being like?
Look, it
How do you
just
time
does.
Yeah,
Thank
Like-
you,
like-
Shadow.
how is it flame strike or fireball? You know,
Mhm.
How about playing a real game?
What do you mean, LARPing?
No, not Eberron is what I mean. And no, I don't want to play at a LARP with fucking Seraphis where he's trying to figure out how to make a fireball, because that's just going to end up a Darwin Award candidate, you know? Like, holy fuck.
dude, if
I
I was
don't know.
laughing, I already have the fireballs. Trust me.
If he was
Walking
LARPing,
around with a
I'd-
bucket of gasoline with like tennis balls in it.
Please, that's too easy.
that's firebolt.
That's Firebolt.
No, yeah.
I should tell you about what I did at school one time. Well, what me and my friends did at school. It involved fire and a battery.
But it was science, teacher.
Yes,
It was.
You in fact lit the science teacher on fire. We are aware. Yes, it was the science teacher.
Not the science teacher. The science block.
We did the because my friend told us about it, and we were like, bullshit. Because when you're that age, you're like, anything anyone ever tells you, this is bullshit. He told us about the sodium in the water thing.
Yeah.
So we broke into the Jimmy very easily Jimmy door to the science fucking stuff, and grabbed some sodium and went to the bathroom and threw it in the toilet. And we all got into a world of shit for that. Turns out, wasn't bullshit. That was fun. So yeah, I can relate. Though I do like Doc's idea of the pail of gasoline-soaked tennis balls. That sounds like an Antifa protest going wrong.
Do not
Or
touch
right,
asbestos
depending on
glove.
which side of the line you're on.
It has potential to go either way, really.
Yeah,
I just thought that was standard in Florida. I was just like, gasoline and tennis
Have a
balls.
good day at school, Billy. Here's your lunch. Here's your cell phone. Here's your alligator repellent. And here's your pail of gasoline-soaked fireballs in a Zippo. Florida.
No.
You never know when you have to pitch some fireballs in Florida.
It happens.
You
And they make you wait till you're 18 to buy a gun.
Person once, right? Wow, Legion of Myth. What the fuck?
That's when we were
Jumper
talking
cable
about.
on the
Wow.
Olivia but I like he said end or balls. So apparently there's a lot of hermaphrodites.
That was very inclusive, Max. Thank you.
Sorry, you guys only just catch on to that when we were making. Okay.
That's the modern warfare style.
Yeah, no, that was when we were making jokes about us beating the players. It was like, yeah, no, that's perfectly on.
Okay, well, I don't pay attention to chat very much. What do you want me to say? It's really bad on my shows because Brian used to be there and he paid attention to chat. So like he'd be like, "Oh, before we continue, I've got some starred chats we need to answer." Like, thank God Brian's here. Otherwise, we'd just be ignoring the audience,
Oh wait, we're meant to be paying attention to the audience.
Apparently.
That's
I
why
know
the
When
show
you
doesn't
talk shit
do well.
like that, I'm not so sure anymore there, Max Liao.
You take attention, you sprinkle it over your hand, you just sort of go like this towards the audience, just freckle it with the attention towards them and they're happy.
Who hurt you?
Do you want and I have asked this a few times now, do you actually want
he
the
has a
answer to that?
spreadsheet.
I have
Who
categorized
must pay? Well, you see, Stephen, had we gotten this resolved 10 years ago, I would have just taken a finger. But now, due to the compounded trauma interest, I'll kill you and wear your face.
you just have paid your fees.
There is you never forget the Danes are still Vikings at the end of the day, right? Like, they may seem all civilized and progressive now with their health care and their universal education, but hi, Kim, do you need any help? You were talking to your wife about labia and or balls?
No, I was not. Yes, I know that was a Max comment. I just want to brag because she's making me Father's Day French toast.
Nice.
So,
Oh, that would make me so sick.
Yeah, my blood sugar would be like.
mine. I'm not
Also,
diabetic yet.
I'm not a father that I know of, and cats don't count, so it's just kind of like Sunday for me.
That's fair.
I don't celebrate it,
So,
so
boy, I wish someone had made me breakfast. That would have made my day better. Would have started on a better foot than me making my own fucking. I have this. So my buddy for a couple years ago for my birthday got me this Ninja convection oven / toaster oven / air fryer. It's got like two sections. That part is a toaster oven, and the other thing is an air fryer, convection oven, this kind of that thing. And I've become the king of fucking parchment paper, meat. 30 minutes. Bye-bye. I'll come back to you later. So my entire life in grocery shopping is now based around how easily can I put that in there and cook that in 30 minutes?
Does it fit?
Can I set it and forget it? Like that's where I'm at. It's fucking, I'm living in a Ron Paul Peel world. But it helps when you're doing the carnivore thing because most of your meats can just be set in there for 25, 30 minutes, come back and they're ready to eat. And it's like, yay.
I went down a weird rabbit hole of some guy on YouTube who was putting stuff in an air fryer, like McDonald's hamburgers, for like hours and hours at a time to see what would happen. It was very, very strange.
Well, those are rabbit holes where I just go, well, why would I need to know what the outcome is? I can calculate the projection of this just by eyeballing it.
Like hour 3, lettuce has ignited. It's like,
yeah, it's like, end result, I can't eat it. There you go. Like, that's what more do I need to know?
Day 2, divorce papers have been served.
Divorce papers have been served. No, God.
Let's see what happens when we air fry the divorce papers.
Now I just have the image of like this like cartoon burger lawyer busting down the walls going, "You've been served, my good man!" like running and jumping out the window, and before you know you're in court, you've lost a house, kids despise you, and you're having to live in the sewer.
You know what I'm doing while we're talking all this craziness? I'm working on fucking the Patreon. Not fucking the Patreon, I'm working on the fucking Patreon.
I'm trying to scare one of my players about the problems that they're facing right now. He couldn't, but my player just cannot be fucked. He's like, nah, we're fine. I was like, Jesus Christ, what do I need to do to inspire the fear of God into you people?
Show him the pivot table. No,
I have. Yeah, they were interested and aroused. Brian, you need more exposure to me because these things are done.
I'm trying, okay?
Yeah, it's doing very well because clearly
as someone who seems to have inherited Ye Olde Geeks exposure to Saxius, you don't need more exposure to Saxius. You need to space it out so that your sanity holds loosely together like one of those Chinese cups that they put back together with gold. You're just like, okay, it's just holding together, you know. Like,
just give me a channel where every once in a while I just go, you know what, my Spectrumite senses have just gone off the roof. I now need to spoke out about something, and I will write like a 2,000 word long analysis of whatever I've seemed to hunched onto.
actually, you know what, Brian? You would be, I don't know if I've asked you this before, but you would probably be the best person to ask this question because you're probably the most insightful Spectrumite I know. Why does my channel attract so many Spectrumites? Like, Nerds Nerd even laughs about it. She's like, he really does. Like, you seem to get a lot of them. And I'm like, why? Why do I get so many fucking Spectrumites?
I don't know.
What am I doing? Tell me so I can stop doing it.
We have a newsletter. We decided we're going to raid.
Wait. Am I the only one here not on the spectrum? Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Are you not on the spectrum? Are you sure? Have you been tested? Because you do have spectrum tendencies.
I know, I think he just enjoys certain things, which is fine. That's pretty normal.
I also like being annoying. I have masters in it.
I'm just... Happy Father's Day. That was your gift.
Are you my...
All right, fair enough, RPG Dad. I guess you won't be playing in the Valorous playtest anymore either, too. So,
Wait, Bear, are you my daddy?
that's what someone said. They said you give real father energy, and that's what like attracts them because you're like the father that doesn't tiptoe around them and just tells them to shut up every now and then. I'm like, really?
I zoned out for a minute, and I came back to whatever it was that Surface just said. I'm like, wait, what have I just... What?
Right?
Imagine being his wife. Imagine poor Grim. You know, Grimsy's got to put up with that 24/7. She must just be like, "Ah, oh, God's nah, stop." Like, it's just gonna be like horrid.
Hence why she drinks.
That's why she drinks.
Your spectrum is grayscale. Please, Max. I've known you long enough. Your spectrum is black and white. That is what your spectrum always is. Hey, there's this new idea that's fucking clown shoes. Okay, that's clown shoes. Moving on.
Yeah, his
That's it.
grayscale is like a palladium grayscale.
Yeah. His Rorschach ink spots are actually line art, right?
Yeah.
He did really, really good in the Codex Albana game yesterday. That was really interesting to see. Actually, his character evolved. Saxus was hanging out for a bit, and then I didn't hear you. You made one comment, and then I didn't see you again. Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched 2 hours of it, and then the game started.
Yeah, we play for 3 to 4 hours. That's the goal. But I've noticed after 2 hours, the viewership goes boop, 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 boop. Like it just craters by half after 2 hours. And I think people just have like, nope, that's enough of these fucking idiots. And I'm like, you know what? I fully agree.
No, I enjoyed it. There was some really good role playing. I liked the interaction with Max Liao's, Ethane and the King. The surprise revolt seems to have been a very nice setup politically. So I very much enjoyed that. Again, John and De Vere's character development is it's an experience.
Did you make it to the end?
I did not make it to the end, though I did get some spoilers from Iman in regards to what's happening in his homeland.
Yeah, for sure. Iman would have been like, "Oh my god, bro."
Yeah.
He didn't.
So I'll have to. Yeah, so I'll have to sit and watch and see the final bits of that.
Cool.
I like the.
Go ahead. No.
I was just gonna say. Otherwise, I really like the address that the characters were given for what the world sees them as, because that's not been the outside perspective returned to them.
Oh no, they've been up their own asses for a while now.
Yep.
And finally getting someone who's like, listen, assholes, you are just a bunch of rabble rousers running around talking shit. You need to do some actual effective stuff now, right? So I thought that was fun. By the way, I don't want to turn this into talking about my game, so whatever else.
Speaking of, how's Heroic?
Well, you see, there is a really awesome period where we're going to be having the freebooters, which is effectively if you are enjoying the Guardians of the Galaxy style of spacefaring, space opera, and this is really what you want to be on for. So again, 15 parts, which is including not just the world within space itself, but also a plethora of alien races, new customizable options, new factions for you to be involved into, the political aspects. Really, really enjoyable stuff. So I would recommend that. That's what Heroic is currently doing. So sign up for the Patreon. It's $5 a month. Though I do recommend that you go into the $10 a month to get access to the archives, as well as all the benefits, music, and the oncoming Heroic and fantasy expansions that's due to be coming out. That is me. That is what I'm here for.
High five, Sax. Well done. Woo! Like I'm telling you, that's why I keep Saxies around. Right there.
Yeah.
He couldn't have programmed a spreadsheet better than that.
Well, I'm still working with OBS to find a way for me to just hit a button and it will automatically give the pitch. Just for better enthusiasm than what I did right now.
That was great.
Record it.
Shut Saro up, so good job.
If you can't blind them with signs, baffle them with bullshit.
Exactly. Can't blind them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. That's the way it is.
Oh, I was listening. I was also thinking in my head, wow, the
Well, you like knows like, rat smells its own hole
I
first.
have a quota to meet, Sarah. You know that.
I do. By the way, were you about to like 10 minutes ago? Were you about to say why are you still around here?
What are you talking
I can't remember.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Say again.
About 10 minutes ago, Sax was just beginning to say something, and it sounded like he was asking he's not sure why he's even in this chat.
I didn't know. What's that? I thought it was the query in regards for who hurt you, and I was like, "But do you really want to know that?"
No. To answer the question honestly, no. I don't want to know who hurt you. It was rhetorical.
Oh, okay. No, like outside of that, no, I don't question why I'm here. I just provide.
You're a good egg, Saxius. You're a good egg.
Good, because we don't want spoiled eggs in our good basket.
Stinky pickled soiled egg, right there. So, at what point did you fall asleep watching the movie last night, Doc Flamingo?
When was it? It was, I think towards the end, but I did pass out.
There was a moment where I'm like, "Are you guys still here?" And like, no answer from you. I'm like, "Okay, they fucking passed out." Then Trucks
Was that a
started sharing-
miniseries originally? That was
It was the 3 hour. It was the 3 hour miniseries. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then at one point,
What was
Truxa started streaming. He was making 3D models. It was like, okay, they're tuned out. Why do I bother?
It was the It with Tim Curry.
Yep.
It was better than the theater remake that I saw a year or two ago. I think terrible.
The kids. I think the first one, It Part 1, was pretty good, but Part 2 was fucking boring as fuck. And I think the good reason to explain that was because what the miniseries got right was what the book does, which is mix the two stories. So you with the adults, and then you get the flashback to when they were kids with the adults. So you're sort of following the story as it develops. What happened with the remake is they decided not to do that. So we got one movie all about the kids, and then when we got the movie about the adults, we were all like, yeah, but where are those kids? Those kids were awesome. We want to see more of them. They're better than the adults, right? And that's the way it works. But if they had done the same thing, if they had blended it together like the book and the miniseries did, I think it would have worked better because they had a natural stop point where they could cut the movie on a cliffhanger when they first defeat Pennywise and then come back for the second half. But they made a lot of weird story choices in the movies, the new movies, where like, I'm sorry, you need to be really fucking special if you're gonna rewrite Stephen King. And the writers of that movie were not that kind of special. And it's just the way it is.
Exactly, not that kind of special.
Yeah. Oh no, Stephen King, I'm convinced, is on the spectrum.
No, it's just all the cocaine and
Yeah, but I think he's
everything
also
else
on
he
the
did in the
spectrum. I don't
80s.
think he's not on the spectrum. Is my point. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I like the first movie, but I love the miniseries. The miniseries is so good. Like, it just sort of really does keep you engaged and good to go for the entire time.
There are a few ways to go wrong with Tim Curry.
Very few ways to go wrong with Tim Curry. Dear God, Truxa sent me a zip file of renders, and it's like 700 renders or something. I'm going to have to go through it later.
I remember seeing some interview with, what was his name? Did Blade Runner, he did Legend, the director.
Ridley
Scott.
Ridley
He's talking about Tim Curry when they first got him for Legend. And he's, in the makeup chair for hours while they're putting all this crap on him. And the whole time he's like bitching and moaning and complaining. He's like, I can't believe I agreed to do this. This is awful. He just like can't stand this process. And then as soon as he gets up, he sees himself in the mirror and he's like, oh. And he's like never complained about it again. He was like all excited about it just because he loved the way it looked so much.
So this is something that actors do. When I was working on Battlefield Earth, we had spent a lot of time in the makeup chair to be made up to be Cyclos, right, with the fake head and everything else. And at one point, as we were going through the first day of makeup, and we're probably in like hour 2 or whatever it was, I just sort of looked at myself in the mirror, and as it was coming together, and I started, just making faces to see how it played. And the makeup guy just stopped. He goes, "This is what I love." And I said, "What?" He goes, "When I watch an actor start to find the character in the makeup." And I was like, "Huh," and I never realized that would be something for them. Like they've done these prosthetic creations, and then to see the actor bring it to life must be somewhat satisfying for them as well. So I thought that was kind of cool. Fun times. My asthmatic cat is sleeping. No, he is. He's got this weird breathing. Beans like when he breathes, when he's like sleeping or whatever, if you're holding him a certain way, he'll just. So when he falls asleep, I'll be working, and every now and then I'll just hear from behind the computer. It always makes me go, "Huh? What the fuck is that?" Oh, it's Beans, right? Never mind. And like all asthmatic kids, he has the most energy. He's not going to let his illness hold him down.
Well, that's 20 past. So I'm going to start wrapping this up.
That was fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
That's all right. Yeah.
'Twas neat.
No. Yeah.
Watch out for the vermicious canids and whatever other crazy creatures you have running around down there. Your made-up country.
No, Trux, I appreciate it, by the way. It's like 600 images. I don't have time to go through them all right now. That's all.
Fair. All right. Well, I've been Seraphis, and these are various people if they want to say who they are.
I refuse to acknowledge anything.
I don't want anyone knowing I'm associated with this stream.
Hi.
I'm a hologram.
Do people know that Bear created Heroic? It's really good.
Do people know that one day I'll get to Australia and punch Sarah in his stupid face?
I'm counting the days.
I'll put a shoe on and call it a shoey. There we go.
Just shows up at the airport. Have you seen this guy?
And everybody in whatever shitty little town you live in will just go, "Oh God, that one."
I'm off. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Bye,
See you,
Zach.
Zach.
Bye, guys.
Everybody.
Take